Who doesn't love BMW's SUVs? They are luxurious, they are filled with technology, they look really good, and they're really fun to drive. But you have to make a choice, X3 or X5. Which one do you even think this one is, X3 or X5? Let me show you, because you're going to be surprised. This is all new for 2023. The BMW X1, and this is redesigned to be larger, to be roomier on the inside. It has more power than the prior model X1, and it has more room for passengers and cargo. So it doesn't give you all the function that you get in the X5 and even a little bit less space than you get in the X3, but with a starting price of just over $38,000, the BMW X1 delivers a lot for the money. And we took a test drive and it was pretty exciting, pretty pleasant. BMW completely redesigned the X1 for the 2023 model year, added a lot of great technology and some really beautiful design. So you'll notice there is a new grille here. It's not the oversized, over-pronounced grille that we see on some of their other cars. This one feels pretty elegant. It is a gas engine, so it does need some air intake, so it makes accommodations for that. There are some really beautiful new headlights, and I want you to take a close look at the headlights because they really are gorgeous. It's that level of detail that you rarely see in something like the headlights on a car, but when you know it's there, it makes you feel really good. You'll notice that the lines are elegant. It is a classic BMW SUV. No surprises here, but what is a surprise is how much more space there is on the inside for you in the front seat, your passengers in the back seat, and your cargo in the cargo area. Driving in the BMW X1 is a pretty pleasant experience. This is a 4-cylinder twin turbo engine. It's not the largest engine that BMW makes. It has about 241 horsepower. So not bad in terms of power, but not the power monster that you might think of when you think of BMW. However, this little 4-cylinder engine is maybe the little engine that could. So you have multiple drive modes. So you can see there's personal, efficient, which is going to give you the best fuel economy. There is this one, which is kind of fun, expressive. And so this is sort of a normal mode, but it also gives you these really pretty screens here. So you just get a little bit more of a visual delight. But where the BMW X1 really excels is here, and that is in sport mode. So put it in sport mode, and it just goes. So it front loads all your torque. It gives you all that torque pretty much instantaneously. It puts those turbos to work and gives you a lot of power. And there actually is a lot of torque in this car. So it was designed to have a little bit of a zippier drive experience than you might be used to in a compact SUV of this size. So that was a surprise and quite a delight. Then I also want you to listen. So it's not real loud. I hear the wheels on the road, but I don't really hear the engine. If I press the accelerator for a little extra power, I do hear the engine, but it's still kind of a quiet, low rumble as opposed to a really loud one. Now we don't have paddle shifters and we don't have a vertical gear selector, so you're not going to really be able to put it into manual driving. And that's, it's neither here nor there. This is not a car that you would want to, sport mode. So that's pretty nice acceleration, and you can hear the engine kind of calming down. It keeps the engine speed pretty high. It doesn't immediately downshift into a lower gear when you take your foot off the accelerator, so you still have that power right under your foot if you decide you want a little more, which is great. Now, you don't have paddle shifters, you don't have a vertical gear selector, so you don't have that option of changing gears for, a manual experience. But this isn't that kind of car either. This is an SUV that is perfect for the solo driver. It's perfect for someone who has backseat passengers occasionally, and it's good for maybe if you're in the place where you're not quite there for your family SUV, but you want something that's affordable, that's pretty efficient, and still loaded with luxury and a little bit of a sport drive experience. That is what this car is all about. The BMW X1 handles quite nicely. It is a compact SUV, so you don't have that huge feeling of an oversized SUV trailing along behind you, but you do have all the space for cargo and people that you might need in an SUV like this. So you have a nice high ground clearance, good view of the road, and for the 2023 model, a lot of really nice, thoughtful features. Some of them luxury, absolutely, but some of them are just really thoughtful, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So I've spent the better part of the last 2 days driving around in the BMW X1, and I can't tell you how lovely it is. So here's what I've learned. First of all, everything has been redesigned. Nothing is where you expect it. So to start the car, the start stop is actually right here on this cantilevered center console, which I don't know if you can see, but there is space here where you can actually put a nice handbag, you could put a phone or two, you can plug in your phone, your USB ports are right here on the center console. So this is your command center, and here is your gear selector, and you push it down for drive and up for reverse and back into the center for neutral. What you won't see on this gear selector is a parking button. That is achieved by tapping the parking brake. So the nice thing is the car doesn't roll forward because you have put on the parking brake the way it might if you put it in park mode in that gear. So that's kind of a nice detail. That is one. Then you have a lot of your commands are right here, just sort of at your fingertips, including drive modes, driver assistance features, auto hold, which is an auto brake hold when you get to an intersection, a stop sign, waiting in line at, carpool, after school pickup, and you have this on. Every time you press the brake, the car will just hold in a braking position until you tap the accelerator. Once you tap the accelerator, the car will move forward. I love that feature. I love that it's on here. One thing that's notable about this little command center is it's a solid piece of composite, like a plastic, and then it actually moves, so it gives you a little feedback, a little haptic feedback. You can feel it as you tap it, which is pretty nice. And then here is this armrest, and you see it's cantilevered here, so there's space underneath. You push this piece here, and it opens this way. Now this is super small. You can put a few coins in here. You might be able to put a very small thing of maybe like hand sanitizer, but there's not a lot of space in here. All your space is actually underneath this cantilevered center console. Then you have cup holders here, so that's where I have my coffee. There are two USB ports here. There is a wireless phone charger right here, and it actually has this little bar. It makes me think of like the safety bar on a roller coaster at a theme park that get in, push the bar to make sure the passenger is safe before departure. So that's kind of a clever thing. The next thing that I'll point out to you outside of this really lovely center console is this piece of glass. So this is about a 20-inch wide piece of glass that has two screens. There's it's about a 10-inch driver multimedia system here, and a similarly sized, maybe an 8-inch driver information screen here, all housed under this single pane of glass. It is really lovely. Now it is that's a touch screen, so you can touch to get whatever you want. Climate control is down here. So there's a climate menu, and then you can quickly get set your temperature, or you can tap your climate menu to change the fan speed, turn on your heated seats and heated steering wheel, and turn on the defroster if you need that. That's nice. They're not buttons. There are no buttons here. There's max defrost and rear defrost are here in case you need those quickly, and maybe if you're I don't know, it's really cold and things are moving slowly, at least you have those buttons, but those are the only buttons here. And then your airflow controls are here. These little tabs are what you can use to control your airflow. There's one over here as well. There's one more luxury feature right up here that I want to show you, and that is this, and that is the head-up display. So in the model that we're test driving, almost $39,000 starting price, there are a few packages added. It comes in at about $50,000, and one of those things is head-up display, which is phenomenal for wherever you're going, whatever you're doing. You can see your navigation, you can see your speed, the speed limit, all of those things right in your field of vision without taking your eyes off the road or looking for anything on the multimedia system. Now, that eyes on the road and hands on the wheel capability is enhanced by this. Hey BMW, set the car temperature to 70 degrees. Now, there are more functions on some of the systems in the higher end cars like the 7 Series and even the M Series of the X5. This is the starter SUV, so it gets the starter multimedia system, but you still get voice activated assistance, which is amazing. There are very few cars that have that system right now. More and more are getting it, but at under $40,000, there are almost no cars that have that. There's some really cool features on this new multimedia system from BMW. So you can find anything in the owner's manual, and there's quick references, there's image search, so you can look and see for anything, it'll show you where it is. And then there is BMW Assistance, digital key, which is an option, so you can use your phone as your key, Wi-Fi, climate control, so you can set up things there, your displays, so you can set up your head-up display. And then there is this, your cameras. So cameras, you have a panoramic view. It says more, click more. Car wash view. So you can click this. So when you're pulling into a car wash, you see exactly where you're going. If you can't see over the hood of the car to see where those rails are, you can use this camera to drive right up and not ding your tire or your wheel going into the car wash, which is pretty darn awesome. I love all these features in here, by the way. They've actually done quite a nice job. You're going to need to spend a little time playing around with this stuff. Messages from BMW, interior lighting, so there's a little ambient lighting. You can turn that on or off, and it'll give you lighting like under here and probably under here. It's bright out today, so I can't really tell. And then you can also, let's see, there are settings for the radio, for navigation, live vehicle. Let's look and see what that is. Acceleration, anticipation. So yeah, so you can set, oh, look at that. How clever is that? So you can set these things however you like. The BMW X1 is slightly larger, it's longer, it's taller, it's slightly wider than prior model years. And what that means is there's a lot of room for rear seat passengers. Not a ton of rear seat space, but more than you would expect. And that's something that's pretty nice. So I want you to notice that this seat is set for my driving position. I'm 5'8". I do have leg room here. I'm not going to be able to cross my legs. That takes a little bit of a effort. I mean, I can, but not, you know, like it's a first class seat, but I can do it. Oh, and a little bit of an effort to uncross them as well. But there's some nice features back here. So we have these seat back pockets here. We have air vents here. We have 2 USB ports here. And there's a little space where you can put something there. Of course, rear seat passengers get cup holders and an armrest. There's some pretty details like these new door handles and the speaker covers. The panoramic sunroof does go all the way over, so it extends over the heads of second row passengers. All the upholstery in all the X1 editions are this really beautiful Sensitech, which is a leatherette material. It looks good, it feels good, it performs like leather, maybe a little bit better because it's probably a little more resilient and it's not going to get suffer from those indentations and wear marks the way regular leather does. It is perforated back here, so I imagine that there might be a heated seat option for someone somewhere down the line. We don't have it in this car, but what we do have is We do have these ISOFIX, so there are 2 sets of child passenger latches here, the lower anchors here, and then there is the tether on the rear seat. Seating position of the rear seat is reclined just a little bit. It doesn't recline any further. And the seats are manageable by pulling a loop on the side of the seat. So we each of the 3 seats get this little loop here. So if I want the seat a little more upright, I can just pull it and position it, and it will lock in place. And if you want to put these seats down, all you do is push this little button on the side of the headrest, pull this loop, and then you can put the seat down like that, and it folds almost flat, not quite, to give you a nice, large, contiguous cargo space, combining the rear seats and the cargo area. You know, this is the small, compact SUV, so it's not a huge amount of space. There's a cargo cover here that you can remove. There is a spare tire here under the cargo floor, and a little space where you could put a few other things. There's a little bin here. There's a bin over here that has a net to hold things in place. So very convenient for hauling groceries. There's a tiny little bit of a lip here. So if you have things that are rolling around, they're not going to roll out. Nice little detail here. Standard is the electric liftgate control. Can't tell you how excited I am about the BMW X1. It is a great place to start your BMW journey, to start your luxury car journey, or if you need to downsize from a larger SUV into something that's a little more manageable, but still has the luxury and the technology that you want, the X1 does all that too. Now, this one is the 4-cylinder, 241 horsepower model. There are other options, and in Europe they have a plug-in electric hybrid that gets about 40 miles on a charge, I believe. I hope that that one comes to the United States soon, because that takes this up to a whole nother level of pretty awesome. But that is what I would call the BMW X1 for 2023. Pretty darn awesome.